And welcome to Earth 2, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. I'm your host, Mo Crosby. Vito D's in here to handle the show with me today. I'm doing a solo, and I'm going to be reviewing the movie Ghost in the Shell. Welcome to the planet.
Welcome to the planet.
The movie Ghost in the Shell is a Hollywood adaptation of the animated movie from '95 under the same name. Controversially, the movie stars Scarlett Johansson as the character of the Major from the same movie. I may or may not touch on some points on the controversy because this is just going to be the movie review. A spoiler-filled review might be on the podcast coming out later this week, or it's going to be an article I'm going to be doing for my fantasy sports talk later this week. Look out for that. However, here are my thoughts on the movie based on what worked and what didn't. First things first, I got to talk about the visuals. The visuals were stunning. Now, there's nothing anyone can tell you that went to go see the movie or they will come out telling you it was a very beautiful movie and it was done well, it worked. But in the same vein, the movie, since it's really an adaptation of a movie that came out in '95, and it's also a movie that has inspired like other anime based movies, as especially like The Matrix or Edge of Tomorrow. We've seen some of his visuals before, so you're gonna kind of expecting something new. When that end, the movie failed. There was really nothing new. It was literally the same thing you've seen in either again The Matrix or Edge of Tomorrow. It kind of lost a little luster for me, but I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it's a huge minus for me. It's just something that could have been, they could have given you something new, something more, something fresh. Again, but coming back to why it worked or why the visuals were amazing is because if you've watched the '95 movie, you're going to see a lot of elements from that movie hold in this movie, like play itself in this movie, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is exactly what I imagined a live action of this shot would look like. This is exactly what I imagined this person would look like, live action. So those are, based on the visuals, that's what worked for me, and also what didn't work. The story. Now, certain parts of the story were just beautifully done, like the first act of it, and then, when it was, again, for me, when it was bringing in elements from the original movie, from the '95 movie, I felt like they were letting us know that they took care in taking the original and not trying to fine tune it too much to make it Hollywood. I understand that that not a lot can translate, so going back to the visuals, not a lot can translate, but you want something new. For the story, they did that, and for me, that's also where it failed, because what they decided to do with the Major and a couple other characters didn't mesh well with what they were with the movie. And it may be because I've seen the original and I walked into the movie, thinking, oh, I've seen the original, give me something as close. You can change certain things, but certain things shouldn't have changed or shouldn't be changed. Like, there's some things where you should just try your best to make sure that that's what comes on or that's what shows. And in the story, while there were those elements that came right out of the movie, the '95 movie, and worked spectacularly, there was also those that when they tried to do new things to weave it in there, didn't, just fell flat and kind of made the story a little boring as it went on. The second act was just, to me, just really, really boring. It kind of picked back up in the third, but at that point they had already done some things that just made you cringe while you were watching the movie. And especially, going back to the whole controversy in the beginning, as I stated, some things that they did with the story just kind of made me cringe. I wish that they had just said no, and we, we're just gonna stick with our guns and go with what we got. If they had done that, to me, that would have been perfect, and you'd have had a better movie story wise. Again, I'm trying to be as non-spoilery as I could be, because if I go into the details of what they did that made me cringe, that's technically going to be a spoiler, and it's going to spoil the movie for people who are on this channel who really want to go back and watch it again. Another thing that worked for me was, some of the supporting characters. Bato's relationship with the Major is something that I feel like you have to be very careful when you're working, because they have this kind of working relationship where it's like, does where I've watching the anime and thinking to myself, I'm like, with the major, there's something about the two of them that just kind of like, you just want to watch the two of them interact with each other, and they did that really really well in this movie, and I enjoyed every time they were both on screen together. ScarJo, with the whole controversy and everything behind her, I feel like she gave her 100 in this movie, and she did a great job of convincing me that she was a cyborg, but she had a human brain, and so she had she also had some feelings and emotions that some cyborgs can't process, because they're all they have human parts, but they don't have the human brain, they don't have human processing. She had human brain and human processing, and that kind of worked because she delivered on that very well. She had certain facial expressions that worked, and I believed almost everything about her story and everything about her as the major. I was 100% behind her in this role. Togusa, for me, he had they kept him as original as possible. Chin Han played Togusa, and I thought that was great casting, and that was very very amazing, and that was done really well. He there's one thing that I want from Togusa, if there's anything, is like for him to deliver the line, "I am 100% human. There's nothing cyber. There are no cyber enhancements on me. I am 100% human." And Togusa did that really well. And when he delivered that one line that he had in the movie, which is also a problem with me, is how do you give Togusa just the one line? And yes, he had a 6-shooter, but did he even use it? He had it out once, and to me that was because you were trying to do so much with the major and with the villain of the movie, you kind of like left out some of the supporting cast, like important supporting cast, like Togusa. Like I feel like he's important, and I feel like he deserved more than the one line he got and the one time you got to see him wield his gun. The chief, I think there wasn't a better person for you to go cast as the chief. Beat worked really well. He was just believable as a chief, as someone who had because there's another thing about this movie is that while they are an elite unit, cyber terrorists or units, Section 9, they are kind of like a family, and Chief is kind of like the dad. He's very protective of the major, and Bato is like the older brother who's also very protective of the major, and Togusa is like the younger brother who's like the baby brother, who's like, man, everyone only focuses on this one person, but I am like 100% me, and I can still handle myself in this, and with the big guys. They did that to a certain point, but I'm talking about the chief now, and he was the father of the group. He was the father of the crew. They were a tight knit crew. Even with the other members of the of Section 9, they were also very tight, very tight and very tight knit. Like it was very very believable for me. Like I believed all of them were very good together. They all kind of meshed well for me. Now the villain. Now we're moving on to the villain, Kuze. I thought Michael Pitt did a great job as Kuze. Like I kind of was expecting a Puppet Master or some iteration of the Puppet Master, and they gave us that, and I thought it worked. However, when he spoke, because with him and the major, they're kind of like one and the same, where he was created first and then it's her. When he spoke, as you can see, that he was defective and he was damaged, or he'd been severely damaged, he was left to die. He had this glitch, like you would hear a glitch, like whenever you are playing a movie and the movie glitches, or you're playing like when your DVD glitches. That's exactly what you got with Kuze, and I enjoyed that part of it really well. And I thought that was really really awesome and really great. So I was thumbs up for him. But what didn't work about his character for me is I wish they had kind of kept him as the solo villain. And again, this is where the story comes into play, where he was great as a villain. He gave me everything, all the feels from the Ghost in the Shell anime that I've been watching, and he had that element to him as like a puppet master type character. And then they decided, okay, we're done with this. We're done with this arc. Let's try to switch this. Let's kind of make him not what, like, no. I didn't think that. I didn't think that was fair. I didn't think that was fair to his character. I didn't think that was fair to the viewers. And I felt that, again, by doing that, you kind of dropped the story down and kind of went back to making it kind of boring. Like, it picked up with him and then you dropped it. Like, okay, we're done with this guy. We're done with this character. Let's move on. I thought that was you did a great disservice to people who've watched the anime and who came in to watch this movie and wanted to enjoy it. So there you have it, folks. That's my review. That's my review on what worked and what didn't. All in all, the movie was okay. I will say it's a very okay movie. Nothing really great about it except for the visuals and except for certain actors and except for certain characters. Other than that, I can tell you right now it's a pass. You can go ahead and pass this movie. You definitely don't want to waste your time to see it, especially if you've seen the original. You don't want to taint your view, because I will also ask you, that you guys that have seen it, if you've liked the original and you've seen this, which do you feel like was better? And also, if if the original never came out, is this something that you can sit down and tell yourself this was a great movie? Those are two questions I'm going to pose to people who have seen this movie. You can listen to my more detailed opinion, and I'll go into a little spoiler territory on this in the podcast, and also you can go read it on my article that I'm going to do for my Fantasy Sports Talk. I'm going to go into the spoiler version of that. The links are going to be down in the description below. Like, comment if you have any suggestions, or if there was anything that you liked particularly that I didn't mention, or if there was something you didn't like that I didn't mention, you can go ahead and drop a comment for that. We take those comments, and Vito and I try to as best as possible to try to interact with people in the comment section. So please leave a comment. Also, hit us up on our social media: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Earth2, the number 2, Comicast. Again, I'm Mo Crosby. Vito D will be here on the next show. Earth2, signing out. Peace.